There we go. So good morning and welcome to NEC's Unlocking the Full Potential of Learning during the New Normal and Beyond session. My name is Jennifer Elting. I'm the Events Manager for NEC, and I will be hosting today's session. A few housekeeping items, before we get started. All lines have been muted, but we want the session to be interactive, so please feel free to add questions in the chat, which is at the bottom toolbar, or unmute your line and ask us a question once you feel like we've come to a good stopping point. So please ask us questions. We'd love to talk to you. You can also let us know how you're feeling about the presentation and the demo by using the reactions feature. That's also located on the toolbar on the bottom of your screen. And we may ask you to use that to help us with a little poll throughout the session. So be sure you can locate that reactions at the bottom. Today's session is being recorded. We would be happy to send you the recording link after the close of the event. Now I would like to turn things over to today's presenter, Brian Baker, NEC Solutions Architect. Brian?
Thank you, Jennifer. So yes, welcome to our NEC session. Today I'm going to talk about some of NEC's UNIVERGE Blue Cloud services. We have very many of these, but specifically we're going to talk about our UCaaS solution, which is Unified Communications as a Service, phone system in the cloud, so to speak. But before we go there, I just wanted to take a real quick couple slides to explain to you who NEC is and how large we actually are, because a lot of people don't know that we're a global company and we've been around a long time. And I'm not going to go through all these, you guys can read, but we have 64,000+ patents, even more than that. But we are very technology-oriented company. We do a lot of research and development. We have 9 global labs around the country. We spend more dollars on research and development than we do on marketing, and that's why I'm presenting these slides, because I'm being the marketing department right now today. But we are also been in the top 50 of innovative companies around the globe because of the technologies that we provide and how we are trying to help mankind using those technologies. So this is a timeline of NEC, and I'm not going to go through all this, but I just want to point out a few of the items on here. And we were talking and chatting beforehand, some of the satellite information here. I want to highlight on that. But starting way over on the left, NEC's been around since 1899. Most people don't realize that. And it was a joint venture between AT&T and NEC, where NEC was building telephones for AT&T. So that's pretty remarkable, and we've come a long way since then. If I go clear up across the grid here, back starting in the 70s, we started laying marine cable on the ocean floor. And what marine cable is basically fiber optics and some copper cable that's laying on the ocean floor. It's waterproof and very durable, as you can imagine. And it strings together all the continents. So if you make a phone call from the United States to any other continent or send data, there's pretty much a 95% chance that it's going across NEC fiber optic cable laying on the bottom of the ocean floor. Now that doesn't seem like a real big deal. It is a big deal, but the point I like to make is we laid this cable and then we were very innovative and said, how else can we use this? So NEC engineers designed a monitor system that sits on the bottom of the ocean floor, very durable, waterproof, all that, salt proof, that monitors tremor activity. So if there's an earthquake on the bottom of the ocean, miles under the surface, we know it's happening, and it alerts the people on shore so they can get ready for an earthquake, or in many cases, a tsunami wave that's going to hit. So that's just one innovative thing that we've done with technology. It was designed for communications, number one, and then we says, hey, let's use it for this alert people also. So down at the bottom here, you see this Hayabusa 1. This is amazing to me. As I was saying earlier, I was in the Air Force and spent a lot of time at Cape Canaveral, so I've seen a lot of space launches and satellites put into orbit. But the Hayabusa 1, I just read up on this recently. This was launched in 2003, and it orbited the sun and for several years. It was supposed to come back in 2005. It missed its cycle going past the Earth, so it had to take a couple more rotations around, but it landed in 2010. It went 5.24 billion miles in that time span. And the amazing part to me is it was designed to land on an asteroid that they had picked out before it took off. That was 186 million miles away, and it was a half a mile wide. And it landed on that asteroid, took soil samples, and that was a whole project trying to figure out how the solar system came about, and going out to these asteroids because they're a little bit easier to land on and take off from than a planet. It also took pictures of all the planets as it went by them. So it did all this amazing stuff, and it made it safely back to Earth. It did have some issues along the way, and that's why it didn't land in 2005. It had some motor issues, that kind of thing. But I'm bringing this up because right now Hayabusa 2 is up there. It was launched in 2014, and it lands this Sunday, December 6th. So it landed on a different asteroid, and it's got, you know, better cameras and better technology. It was advanced, so it's going to be pretty interesting what it has inside it to bring back to the Earth. So that's pretty amazing stuff to me. Not sure if it is to everyone else, but kind of dig that space stuff. If I go forward here, NEC biometrics, we talked a little bit about this chatting back and forth in our virtual room. NEC is a leader in biometrics. Digital fingerprinting. If you had a little too much fun at the Christmas party and you get fingerprinted, pretty much a 95% chance that it's either NEC software or someone that purchased our patent of that software. So we invented digital fingerprinting many, many years ago. And now we are the #1 leader in facial recognition. And this is in speed and accuracy. And we're not talking about unlocking your phone. We're talking about scanning a crowd of people as they move by in an airport or a stadium, and picking out that one person that's either the bad guy trying to get through the airport or the VIP walking into the casino, so you can treat them real well. So that's what it was designed for originally, and we've evolved that, and we've been very innovative with what we can do with that. In fact, with the pandemic going on, we changed that software algorithm. Now we can do facial recognition with people with masks on, which is a huge step forward. And this could go into the education world or a lot of different verticals where people come in with face masks, and you can either just be counting faces to know the capacity of that building, and then you have a dashboard or alarms go off when you've reached the capacity of that building, for people to stay apart and that kind of thing. And we also put thermal sensors into those same cameras or those same kiosks where it would look at your face, so we can tell if you have a fever. So you can imagine how that is going to make our world a lot safer place to live, and I think you're going to see a lot more of that going forward. Last but not least, over here, we're the 2020 Olympic gold sponsor, which obviously didn't happen because of COVID, but it's scheduled to happen, fingers crossed, in 2021. And we are going to be using a lot of these technologies, maybe the satellites to beam that across the globe so people can watch live, or the biometrics piece to keep everyone safe, all the athletes and the people there to watch those events. So hopefully in 2021, that's where it happens. So I have a few questions here. This is just to spark interest. If you want to speak up, fine. If you want to just send out an emoji, a hand clap, thumbs up, if you can relate to what I'm going to ask you here, that would be great. It just lets me know what my audience has on their mind. So first one, how many of you are using antivirus or anti-malware software? So hopefully everyone is, and we see a thumbs up there, so thank you. And do you pay for that software? Is it a freebie software? Is it kept up to date? How does all that work? It's just something to think about, and we're going to show you what we have to offer there in that space. Your mobile phone, do you use it for everyday business, whether it was supplied to you by the school system or it's your personal phone? Do you end up using that to talk to students or talk to other colleagues? Do you get text messages from parents? That kind of thing? Yeah, I figured you did. So we'll also speak to that, because usually what happens is now you're checking multiple devices. You have a, a voicemail built into your cell phone, and then you have a voicemail that the school system has, or your corporate voicemail. So you're checking two different places, and it just becomes kind of a cumbersome situation. I'm sure the answer is yes on this one, to use web collaboration or video on a regular basis. I would think in today's remote learning and everything that's going on, we're actually doing it here today. You're going to see, everybody's using web collaboration. So I'm going to show you a tool that's very similar to the Zoom that we're using right now, and hopefully I have no problems doing my collaboration inside of a collaboration. We haven't really truly tested that, but it shouldn't be an issue. But I'll show you what we have to offer there. And then how do you transfer files around? Do you send them via, your text message? Do you email files around? Is that your easiest way to transfer things back and forth to other people? Because we see a lot of people doing it that way. Even today in my world, I'll have people, email me files because it's just the easiest way. It's the way they grew up and the way they know how to do it. But we have some tools here that will allow you to do all these things in one application. And that's the key here. Is our UNIVERGE Blue Connect is a fully integrated cloud communications, collaborations, and contact center. And it does all these other things in one simple, easy to use screen. So you can do all these things. So it's definitely UCaaS. That's, so it's your phone system. But it has all these other things. It has team collaboration, it has online meetings, it has the ability to share files, and it has, access to NEC telephones, and your mobile device. So if you're sharing a file with somebody from your desktop and you're out and about on your mobile device, you'll be able to look at that file or give them permissions or share from your mobile device as well. You can start meetings. The application is called Meet instead of Zoom, and it is pretty much does all the things that you would expect to do with a HD video conferencing and collaboration tool. It has screen share, remote control, recording, all the things you would expect. It integrates to Outlook, it integrates to Teams, it integrates to Google. It also has some artificial intelligence built into it. So if you're recording your session like we are today, it would take that session and transcribe everything that was said by every person on the call and give you a text report of who said what when. And the artificial intelligence piece is it looks for action items. So if I say I will, or I plan, or whatever that action noun is, it'll capture that and make a list of those action items for the host, and it sends it to the host. The host can clean it up or do whatever they want with it, use it for the next meeting, and say, hey, where we stand with this action item here. So it's pretty interesting on what it can do as far as that goes. The file sharing piece we call Share, imagine that, and it allows you to sync all your files, share your files with other people, back them up to the cloud so they're safe and secure. And it does this all automatically. You just tell it which file folders you want synced, and it's doing this in the background, and it includes antivirus. Comes with it, it's free. So you're always going to have the latest version of antivirus. So any file that gets pushed up to the cloud, it's scanned first. If there's a problem with it, it quarantines it and it lets you know, hey, had an issue with that. Likewise, if you get hit with ransomware or something like that, you have all your different versions of your files. So every time you hit the save button, it's saving that older version. And that is so you can go back to a specific date and say, hey, reload my machine. Here's all my files. Now you're back up and running in no time. So it has, some ransomware built into it. And then UNIVERGE Blue Engage is our contact center, because we're finding that every business out there has a need for a contact center where you have agents answering phone calls. It could be your help desk in a school world. It could be, student registration. It could be a lot of things. It could be outbound. So like if there's an emergency or you have a lockdown, you could use that tool to call out to let your safety team know that there's a situation on campus. And we have different flavors of that. It's everything from your sort of basic call center that comes with Connect, and it has like hunt groups, but these are amazing. They have the ability to log in, log out of a hunt group, and you can play announcements and you get reports on that. So that's like the very first basic level that comes with Connect. And then we have some more advanced levels where you can do everything from advanced IVR and building your own IVR. So if a call comes into a help desk and you're running a help desk application, it automatically brings that account up on the screen based on the person's caller ID calling in, things like that. So we can do all that with the call center. So again, the application is called Connect, Blue Connect. And by the way, our password for attending this session is blue. I think I was supposed to say that, huh, Jennifer? Let them know. So anyway, the PBX system, it's a phone system, voice conferencing, chat. You can read what's up on the screen, but what I like to point out is these last two words, seamless experience. So not only is it easy to purchase, it's easy to implement. There's basically nothing you have to do except receive a phone in the mail and plug it into your network, and you're up and running and load a client on your desktop or your iPhone or Android. It's also very easy to administrate after the fact. You get a dashboard where you can go in and add users and that kind of thing. It's very, very simple in all those aspects. And we like to call it crazy simple. So it's all these things over here. It's a business phone system, meetings, video conference, all these things. And you can see the different vendors out there. You might be using Dropbox for your files, Genesis for a contact center, video collaboration, Zoom, like we're doing today. Your phone system might be a Mitel, Cisco, NEC. It does all these things in one easy to use, crazy simple application. And truthfully, when we designed this, that was the key that we wanted to do. We don't have every single feature under the sun because we found that as you add feature, you add complexity. So we added the things that we feel are needed to get your job done. And it just simply works. So, it's all these things on, one communication platform at one low monthly rate per user. And, you can use the contract vehicle that Jeremy's going to talk about in the next session to procure this technology. So we feel that it's, education is a good fit for this. We have actually a lot of these installs in schools around the country. So this is kind of the big clock of what Blue Connect does. It's, at the base, it's a cloud phone system. It does video conferencing. It has a mobile application, so everything that you can do from your desktop or from a web URL, you can also do from your mobile device. Very secure. It has backup and collaboration, so it's going to back up your files. It allows you to share your files very easily. You can send links. You can give different permissions to people internal, people outside the company. It has all those capabilities. You have the ability to send and receive faxes, which, fax being an old technology, but some people just still want to keep using that. So, it has that capability. It gives you a presence indicator across all these different applications. You can always see if someone's available by seeing the little colored jewel next to their name, and you'll see that here in a minute. I'm going to, show you a live demonstration. Also has the ability for a desktop application on both Mac and PC. So no matter what device you have, you can get to this application. You can get to it from a URL. If you're working from home, if you're at the office, it has all those abilities to get into the application, and we don't charge you for the number of ways that you can get in. It has team chat and SMS, so you have the ability to set up team collaborations with other users. I'll show you this, and you can chat back and forth. It keeps a history of that. And then it has the ability to SMS text somebody within that chat group or somebody outside of the company or somebody that maybe not using that on their mobile device. But the cool thing is if you chat to them via SMS and they respond back, that SMS text comes from their mobile device into that chat room, and you can continue to communicate that way, and you have a histogram of that. Contact center, I explained a little bit about that. Over here on the right hand side, it just shows all the things that the contact center can do. It can it's omnidirectional, omni-channel, so you can have voice calls coming into your contact center, emails, chats, all that can be part of your contact center. It's highly customizable, very simple. When you get into contact centers, we really get into another level of complexity. And again, we've tried to keep that very easy. So if you want to integrate your back office, Salesforce or whatever it is that you use, it has the hooks to do that and do it very easily and quickly. And you don't have to hire a rocket scientist to make it work. So it has all that built into it. On the phone system side, full featured phone system, 100+ features. So everything that you'd think a phone system should have, it's in there. The ability to conference people together, the ability to flip a call from your desk phone to your mobile device, all those different things. It has automated attendant, comes with it. It has the ability to do receptionist routing. So press 1 for the principal, 2 for the grade school, those kinds of things. It has call recording, so I can automatically record all my calls, or I can do it manually on the fly by dialing an access code or pressing a button. And it'll take those recordings, store them, and then transcribe them if you want them transcribed into text. Same with the voicemail. If you get a voicemail message, it comes into this client, and you can have all your voicemails transcribed into text, so you don't have to dial in and listen to that message. You can just see it on the screen and read it and do some multitasking, as it relates to listening to voicemail messages while you're doing other things. So it has all that. It has the hunt groups I told you is like the basic call center built into it. So you get 10 hunt groups with Connect. And then if you want to go to the next level, then you have to decide on which package you'd like to include, but it does come with that. And then there's a control panel, so you can add phones, devices, numbers, decide where, what's going to be sent to the 911 center when you make a phone call from your home phone. You can do all that with the control panel. So it's a pretty robust. When we present this, everybody wants to know what's going to be sitting on my desk as far as phones. So I always cover the phones. It can be just the voice piece of this, or it can be much more, because we got some pretty advanced phones. You see, we started making them in 1899, so we've went through a whole bunch of iterations of telephones, from old analog to digital phones, and now we have IP and SIP-based phones, which is what you're looking at here. This is a full color touchscreen. This is one of our high-end phones. We have some above this, believe it or not, but this would be a color touchscreen. It has all the different things that you'd expect with an IP telephone, including it's a gig switch, so you can plug a PC into the back of this, and you only need one drop to your desk, and it has all the security and QoS functionality built into that telephone. But we also support many other telephones. So NEC has a whole line of telephones from lower versions, 6-button, and some that don't have the color screen, because it's all on what you want to afford to put into your network. But we also support other manufacturers. When we go to the SIP standard, session initiated protocol, which is what most of the cloud solutions run on today, it's a standard. So we can take a standard off-the-shelf telephone from Polycom, Yealink, and plug it into our system, and it's going to come up and work just like the NEC. We think the NEC is better, but some of these devices you may already have, or like in a conference room, you may want this really advanced Polycom or Yealink speakerphone, and they work really well. So I'm not going to take nothing away from them. I also like to point out here that we have a promo right now. If you purchase a system from us up until the end of March, every user gets a free telephone. And this is a 6-button black and white LCD display telephone very nice phone actually, and you get one for each user on your system, absolutely free. And if you don't like that phone, you can take the cost of that phone and put it against an upgrade to a a more advanced model, a color model, or the one that I showed you earlier. So there's a lot on the plate there right now if you would be interested in this product. So now I'm going to give you a tour of that. Let me see if I can jump over to the actual system itself. And here we are. So this is the Connect desktop client, and hopefully we have time. I will show you the mobile client also and take questions at the end. So if just first off, this is your navigation bar on the left here. So right now I'm on the chat page. So it's showing all my chat messages. Hopefully there's nothing here that's out of place. And then if I wanted to start a collaboration meeting like what we're doing here today, I'd press this little video icon. If I wanted to look at the files that I'm storing in the cloud and share them with somebody or send them a link to my files, I would go here, and I'll dive into that in a bit. This is my history of all my phone calls, SMS chat messages or text messages are stored in here. Here is my voicemail messages, which I can click a button and it'll transcribe them for me, or I can just listen to them if I want to, or do both from there. And then this is my telephone interface. This is, it's going to have a dial pad and all the people that I call all the time, like a busy lamp field, and all my favorites on there. And then down here, if I go in here, it gives me the ability to change things on how my system works. Usually I like to just point out a couple things here real quick. The main one being you have two different modes. So I'm using a soft phone today and my headset that I'm wearing, or I can do call controller mode, which would be set up to control a telephone sitting on my desk, which right now I have a Polycom. I don't have an NEC phone. I just happen to have a Polycom SIP phone, and I pointed it at our server, gave our server the MAC address. It downloaded a config file, and voila, I have a phone up and running. It took me about 5 minutes. So it has that capability. And then there's some other settings in here. I'm not going to go through all that. Also, it shows that I'm in a meeting because we're in a meeting, right? And I'm red, but there's other present settings here. I can't really show them to you because when you're in a meeting, it automatically puts you in a meeting. If you're sharing your screen, it puts you in do not disturb mode. So can't really show them to you, but I can show you others and what that looks like. So if I bounce back here to some of the other people, you can see that Peggy's green and she's available. If I hover over her name, I can see all her contact information. I've made her a favorite. That's the little orange star. So that's why she's showing up in this field here. I can see that Dave is on the telephone. I can see that some others may be yellow because they've stepped away from their desk. If they're gray, that means they haven't logged in today. So it's really neat how you can quickly see if somebody's available and contact that person if you need be. It has a super intelligent search window. So I'm going to look up Jennifer here. So let's see, it's gonna, do I not know how to spell your name? Let's do it this way.
2 N's in mine, Brian.
Oh, okay. Let's do it that way. Sorry. It's not like I've only done this a million times, right? So I just look up Jennifer and you see I have several different Jennifers here, and Jennifer Elting is in here twice because she's got 2 accounts because of she's our web host all the time. But if I click on her, and that brings up our chat messages that we've had, and I see that she's in do not disturb. That's because she's in this webinar and sharing her screen, or she's part of this webinar. But I can easily come down here and say, hello, Jen, with 2 N's. And she gets that information right away, and then she can come back to me and say whatever. You can see up here, I've got her starred so that she's part of my favorites. If I just click on that, that would take her out of my favorites. You see she disappeared from here. and I could put her back in if I wanted to. So it has all these different capabilities with chat. I can actually go back and search all my whole chat field here. I can come up and do a search on that. I can also invite others, and I'm going to invite. I should have looked first, but let's invite Lainey, Lainey Gordon, who's on the call. So I've invited Lainey. Let's invite Jeremy. There's Jeremy. I'll invite John. Might be a bunch of Johns. As I thought. There's Mr. Schroeder. So I've invited all these people. So now I've turned in that chat message that was just Jennifer and I into a group chat. So now we have a chat that's going to everyone. You know, hello, did you? So I can send that and it went to everybody. You can see the chat message there. I can also change the name of this chat group. I can I'm going to call it R10 Tech Fair. And now everybody knows, what's going on there. If I wanted to start a meeting between all of us in this chat, I would simply come up here, hit meet now. I already have a meeting going, so I know it's not going to work. But if I clicked on that, it's going to just put in the chat field down here a link. They'd all click on it, and voila, we're now able to share our desktop and have a collaboration team session and talk about whatever the project is that we're working on, the R10 Tech Fair. So chat is pretty powerful in this application. It has all your recent chats over here. I can send little emojis if I want to. It has a whole library full of them. Usually when I send the telephone one to Jennifer, she knows I want her to call me. In fact, Jennifer, you want to call me, that'd be great. We can just show how that works. Hopefully I can do that without too much confusion here. So there's Jennifer calling me. I see the screen pop of her calling me. You can hear my cell phone going off, my desk phone's going off, all my devices are going off, and I'm going to mute here so I don't cause any echo. But now we're on a conversation, and I can do all the things you would expect: mute, put her on hold. I can bring up a keypad, so if we need to dial digits to get into another application like voicemail, we can do that. I can flip that call, so I can flip it and pick it up on any of my other devices, not just my mobile device, but I could flip it and my desk phone's going to start ringing, and if I had another phone at the office, it would start ringing, and then I can just pick that up. Jennifer doesn't hear anything, doesn't know any of this is happening, and I use this all the time. Haven't lately because I'm working from home like everyone else, but when we were in the office, we have cubicles. So if I was on a call that I wanted to be private, I would flip the call, get up from my desk with my mobile device, walk down to the conference room, close the door, have my private conversation, and then either go back to my desk and flip it back, or that kind of situation. Or if I'm on a mobile call, I just pulled into the parking lot, I can continue that conversation, and then when I get into my desk, I could flip it to my desk phone, put my headset on, and start typing away. But that's how I use that flip, and it works really well. I could park that call. So unlike hold, if you park it, you can pick it up somewhere else. So if I park that call, then I could, page overhead, hey, pick up park orbit 123, if that's the number, and anybody can go anywhere and dial that number and pick up that call. If you know what the code is. I can also transfer that call and add people on. That's pretty basic stuff. Or I can add a person to the call immediately. When I do hit transfer, it gives me the options to transfer them to voicemail, so it would go directly to their voicemail. You wouldn't have to dial an access code or anything like that. So it's got all the features that you would expect from a phone system call control capabilities. So I'm going to hang up from you, Jennifer, sorry. So that's pretty much the chat piece and some of the voice calling. I'm going to skip the video and save that for last. If I go into the files here, these are all the files that that I've stored in the cloud, and it's taken a little while because we got a lot going on my laptop with this connection to Zoom and another connection to my other video application. So it's taking a little while for it to look at all my files and bring up what I've worked on lately. So there they are. So so these are the recent files that I've worked on. I can also go to my favorites. I can go to my blue share, which is everything and the different folders that I have, or I can go in here and I can, I can tell it which folders that I want backed up. And out of the box, it does my documents, and it does your music, your videos, and your pictures. But as you can imagine, if people are a music buff, they're gonna take a lot of storage real quickly. So you can turn that off from an administrator, and they wouldn't even see that in here. And the way this works too is it's all the data pulled together. So when you buy Connect, you get 10 gigs of storage per user, but you add that all together. So if you have 10 users, you got 100 gig, or 10, or yeah, 100 gig. And then when you exceed that amount, when you pull all together, because it'd be real hard to manage each user individually, it just lets the administrator know that, hey, if you've exceeded your amount, we've added another gig. You're going to get charged for it this much, per month. And if you want to go to the next level, 100 gig per user or unlimited, here's what it costs. And that's how we handle that. So works really well. One of the things I like about this is, say, here's the PowerPoint that I've been working on. I can get a link for that PowerPoint, and every time I hit save, it's going to save that version of that PowerPoint. But if I sent somebody a link to that PowerPoint at the very beginning, and they click on that link, they're going to get the latest version. I don't have to keep changing the name of the file or sending them a new link. They're always going to get the latest version. I can also put an expiration on that. So maybe it's, it's a quote that only lasts for 90 days. I can put a 90-day expiration on that. So when they click on that, it's not going to work. It's going to give them an error. They're going to call me and say, hey, I'm like, okay, let me refresh that quote for you, or that kind of thing. So that's how that works. Earlier we were talking about, this is that file I shared with Jennifer earlier, and I probably shouldn't have clicked on it. It's going to take a little long to download with everything I have going on. But this is that picture I took out of my front door yesterday, and I shared it with Jennifer. I sent her a link to it. So thinking about making that into a Christmas card. So any questions about Share and how it works? Because I think this sort of stands us aside from some of the other UCaaS solutions out there. Our ability to have collaboration meetings, some of them have that, but the ability to back up your files, I haven't seen another vendor that does that. So that's pretty unique to us. If I go down to the next thing, this is our history of everything that happens. So there's all the calls that I've had lately. You can see I can go in and look at all calls, or I can just look at missed calls. I could go back and call those people just by hovering over their name. Not sure if anybody has SMS in here, but you would see the icons for chatting, calling them. There'd be another one for SMS. If I wanted to send a text message to their mobile device, I could do that right from here. So that's pretty self-explanatory. This is the voicemails that I have in the system. If I click on one of these, it shows me that message. I can play it back from here. And in this case, I just left a test message, and it says, this is a test message for voicemail transcriptions. Please call me back. So it took that audio, transcribed it to that, and I can simply see it right here. In fact, there's the little SMS. If I wanted to text myself, I could do it from here, and it would send a text to my mobile phone, which is that's the phone number there. So that is another feature that not too many of the vendors out there do, and it works great if you got people with mobile devices and people outside of the company that you deal with that don't have your client, or even people that do have the client but don't have it turned on or not logged in. You can send them an SMS text, and they're going to get it. Down here, this is the the telephone piece to it. So I can have favorites. So I have all my personal favorites in here, and I need to ask Mr. Schroeder, because he was offended last time we did this. How do I spell your name? Sorry, John, you're not in my system. I can't spell. Actually, it's just looking up my favorites. My bad. But I could find you here in here and make you a favorite, and you would show up there. So that was pretty clumsy. Sorry about that. Anyway, so this gives you all your favorites. It also gives you the ability to dial from the screen and or put a phone number in here. And keep in mind when I do this, and I have it set for call controller mode where I have a desk phone, it's going to go off hook and dial seamlessly. Or if I set for, you know, soft phone, then it's going to go off and I'm going to hear it through my headset. So you have your company contacts, your, you know, UNIVERGE Blue contacts, which could be different. You can also have personal contacts, your favorites. It's all in here and easy to get to. So that's pretty much what I was going to show as far as demonstration. We only have a couple minutes left, but is there any questions for the viewers out there?
Yeah, so just a reminder, everybody's lines are muted. So if you have a question, unmute your line and we'd love to hear from you. Or if you're not comfortable with that, you can put it in the chat box at the bottom. A quick reminder, the NEC booth password is blue. Hopefully we have said that a couple of times now. I was going to say that at the beginning and totally spaced on that, but the NEC password is blue. Again, if you have any questions, we'd love to hear from you. We can also provide you with a more in-depth demo if you would like. This one was pretty in-depth, but we can do more of a one-on-one if that's of interest. You can contact any one of us. Our SLED team includes Jeremy Dunnigan, John Schroeder, and Lainey Gordon, all who are on the call, and they'd be happy to answer any of your questions.
And as you can see up on the screen, that's my mobile device. So you're looking at my Android, and it has everything that you've seen on my desktop. So there's my favorites. These are my phone calls that I've made. There's the chat messages. There's the one from everybody that we just was talking to. There's Jennifer. Me and her chatting back and forth.
You gotta put me back on your favorites. I got booted during the demo.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I did. Sorry. I'll put you back. And don't worry, John, I'll get you on there. I apologize. Kind of fumbled that one. Anyway, so.
Well, thank you all for joining us. We appreciate that you're here. Christy does have a question for us. SLED team, would you like to field that question? So Jeremy, I have an inkling you're trying to respond. We need to get you guys off of mute.
Yes. Yeah, I just didn't see the question. I thought I was looking in the chat. Should I be looking somewhere else, or can you read it?
Yeah, it's in the chat. So Christy is asking about the cost.
Gotcha. Good question. Yeah, actually, I don't see that question in the chat, so that's kind of interesting. I don't know. But thanks for reading that off. So fantastic question. So the way you can procure these products is through the Equalis contract vehicle, which they are the lead contract vehicle for Region 10. And we will be talking about that in about 15 minutes. I'm going to do a quick session on that too. But there's pretty heavily discounting on that contract. So you'll see up to 40 or even more than 40% discount from our any list price or anything that you'll see online. But again, the pricing is all that contract. NEC is all of our technologies on that contract. Therefore, anything that you wanted to get from the you could really, I mean, they make it really easy. You don't have to go to bid or, you know, do any kind of RFP. You can literally just go to the contract and have a, you know, a binding, compliant way to purchase the technology. Again, without having to go to bid, and you can just use the Equalis vehicle. But yeah, heavily discounted and not to exceed pricing is via the contract.
right, I don't see any other questions. So with that, I'm going to stop the recording, but we will be here in our booth if you want to come back and ask us any other questions. And then as Jeremy said, we have a 10 o'clock session and he'll be going over the contract with Aquala. So we would love to see you for that one. Thank you all so much. See you soon.